Halloween
Forever.
Good evening, Stephen. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, Brian. How's it going for you?
I'm good. I'm just chugging this beer as fast as I can, burping on the microphone. Hey, got one for you.
Okay.
I got a couple. We'll see how you respond, right?
Okay.
What is the, according to Webster's dictionary, what is the definition of a barbarian?
Definition of a barbarian. I don't know, Brian.
Well, it's not someone who cuts hair in a library.
Boo.
You know, library.
I don't like that one. I don't like that one. Try again.
It's not strong. I'm just warming up. If a warrior's job is to fight in wars, then why isn't a gladiator's job to make people smile? Because of glad.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, one more. Ready?
Yeah.
What do you call a wandering warrior who never gets angry?
A wandering warrior who never gets angry.
Wandering.
Wandering.
That's the big key word there.
Oh. I'm not going to get it. Sorry.
Steve, of course, it's a nomad.
Yeah.
Gotcha on that
stricken.
last one.
Ouch. Stricken.
Welcome, boils and ghouls, to a epic minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
Epic in the sense that we're talking about a big old crazy epic violent horror fantasy movie. We're talking about a brand new one, guys, a remake of an old classic. Some of you guys might already be talking about this. Some of you guys might be a little excited about it. I know Steven and I are, because it's one of our favorite directors. Steven Kostanski came out with, in this very year of our Lord 2025, we're talking about his remake of Deathstalker. I'm really excited to talk about this movie. It was a lot of fun. Spoiler alert, but of course, we got a couple of things we got to do at the top of the show, Steve. You got one of them. Hold on. I smell a wet one, Steve.
You smell a wet one?
Oh, I smell a little wet one. You slurping on a little wet one over there?
Brother, I'm slurping on a wet one.
Hey, hell yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got?
We talked about this before, and I think you drank it, like a month or two ago. But I just got around to getting it out the fridge, and it's the Dogfish Head Chicory Stout.
That's a pretty one. It's a pretty beer.
Yep. Wonderful stout.
That beer fucks also feels very appropriate for this movie, because that little potion they were making and they made that lady drink pretty much looks like it.
Yeah. They made that lady drink out the vat of the. She drank out the bright tank of the chicory stout.
Yeah, and there might even be some of the same ingredients in there. Some weird old sticks and twigs and bark and shit. Are you liking it as much as you remembered?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is one of those. I like when people go a little goofy and do something herbaceous.
Sure. And
there are very few herbaceous stouts out there. If people remember a while ago, one of my favorite ones was coming out of Kane Log Yard Brewing for a while, because they made a birch. It was either a brown ale or a stout, but it tasted like birch beer, like IBC birch beer.
Sure.
But I mean, they've shuttered since then, so no, no more of that.
No more of that. Yeah, it didn't set the world on fire. Well, I'll tell you this. I love a herbaceous beer. I love a floral beer as well. I was one of the only people. I remember in grad school, place I bartended. Shout out the beautiful Wexford Ale House, Poor Richards now, I think what it's called, in Wexford, PA. We used to have the, what was the beer? Gosh, the names escape me. It was Dogfish Head, and it was the one that had like parsley, sage, rosemary, saison. It had parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. It was saison, not saison du fleur. All I can think of is saison du pont, but it was saison du something. I'll think about it.
Sure.
But it was one that nobody else liked but me. and it was real tasty. And then I went as far as to, I remember one time I brewed a grisette, or maybe it was a saison, where I plucked all the like little stamen out of 500 dandelions to get like 6 ounces or 8 ounces of dandelion like stamen, and brewed a beer with that. It was very floral. And maybe the beer that I loved and nobody else liked it all the most was I did a wit beer called Tie My Wit. Tie spelled Thai. It was Tie My Heart in parentheses in a double knot by Dolly Parton. That was the name of the beer. And it had Thai basil, lemongrass, and something else in it. And then, of course, whip beer yeast. And that thing was just perfumey as all hell. But yeah, I fucked with those beers too.
Yeah, I'd fuck with that. I'd fuck with that Thai beer you just mentioned. There was somebody else who made a Thai beer that was, it might have even been Rogue from a long time ago. But I believe the beer you're thinking of is the Saison de Boeuf.
Saison de Boeuf, of course. Yes, that is exactly what it is. I don't know if they've made that in recent years, but I always enjoyed that beer. Speaking of Rogue, I heard, I think they announced it earlier today. I think Rogue is shutting their doors permanently.
Really?
Yeah, that's an OG craft brewery. Sign of the times. Craft breweries are struggling to stay alive, but I'll tell you one that's not, and for good reason. My first one of the season, Steven. Getting down on that celebration.
The celebration.
The Sierra Nevada celebration. I grabbed a couple 6-packs of it. It was my first one of the. Here, listen in on it. Listen in real close. If you're in your car, turn your volume the whole way up. If you don't have earbuds or something in, put it in. Jack that volume and hear me slurp on this wet one for you real quick. God damn it. Tastes like the holiday season, Steven. We're halfway through November, and that means it's officially the holiday season for me. I watched my first Hallmark Christmas movie last night. Yeah, last night.
Sure.
It was about a lady who was starting a bakery or something. It's always about something like that. And then immediately after that, I watched our movie that we're going to talk about in the Patreon episode, which we'll talk about here in a second, which is a real juxtaposition.
Hell yeah.
And then this evening, right before we got recording, I watched this here Deathstalker, which again, real left turn. What did I say? Night-Stalker.
Yeah.
Kolchak, the Night-Stalker.
Watching Kolchak.
Yeah. I love that movie too. No, Deathstalker, of course, guys. But we got a couple more things we got to do. Oh, and by the way, I'm currently, which is perhaps the most abrupt left turn of the week for me, cinematically. I went from Deathstalker, and now in the background, as we're recording here, I'm watching Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. It seems like the complete antithesis of Deathstalker in many ways. But a couple of things we got to do at the top of the show still. Remember, guys, we do deliver some sticky sweet, maybe a little peppermint maybe a little crushed up peppermint candy canes on it for the next couple of months. But we do lay out some sticky sweet content on the internet every Monday. However, first Monday every month, we do this special little showdown episode, and that's where me, Steve, and our guest or our collective Patreon community get some topics off our spinny old wheel, with our social media friends vote on it. We pick movies associated with those topics. Little different in our upcoming showdown, which will be the first Monday in December, as we will do our secret Satan showdown. How many years have we been doing this? This is at least 3, maybe 4?
3 or 4.
Yeah. Also,
I think we might have to look at the calendar and move it to the second Monday of December. It's a little bit of a weird calendar situation where Thanksgiving is going to fall right on like the weekend we usually record.
Oh, all right.
And so that first December Monday is actually December 1st. So we might have to push it a weekend because that's going to be what's good for our guests.
Okay. That's
So,
okay too.
yeah.
We do have some fun guests that are going to join us for the Secret Satan Showdown. So maybe we'll push that. Heads up now. Keep Frosty over on the social medias. Follow us if you're not already on the Halloween is Forevers on all the social medias. we'll post and keep you updated, keep you abreast of any developments as far as that's concerned. But we might switch that Secret Satan Showdown to the second Monday. Ooh, it'll even be more festive at that point.
Deep into it. Unless we record really, really early, I don't know that it will make the first Monday. So maybe keep a lookout on the second Monday. But yeah.
All right. I like that. I like that plan. Stephen, we are also going to be recording something over on the Patreon, releasing it here real soon for November. What do we got going on over there? Tell the boils and ghouls what to check out.
If you can believe it, we are recording our penultimate episode of 90s is Forever, which is our comedy-focused podcast that is taking films from the 90s that are long forgotten and widely hated when they came out and revisiting them for 2025 because we are children of the 90s and it's good to relook at things that we may have liked. This is especially me because I watched a lot of these movies on Cinemax growing up and my dumb kid brain liked them then. But as an adult, I cannot stand them. And Brian is just being inflicted upon, stuff the first time.
This movie that I just watched, and I think we mentioned in the last episode, so I won't be spoiling it. But for those of you who do subscribe over on the Patreon, we're talking about a movie from 1995 this month called Baby Ghost. There's no fucking way you watch this as a kid, Steven.
This one I did not watch as a kid. This one is just unless infamously
somehow,
bad.
Unless somehow you were subjected to it in an MK Ultra type program, that maybe it's something like that. This is not something that was on Cinemax. This is one of the most bizarrely stupid improvised movies. It felt like somebody said, I got this weekend free. I should make a movie real quick. Let me get some washed up old actors and throw a couple bucks at them. And, I can entertain myself for the weekend. That's what this feels like. But if you want to hear us talk about it, you should go over and give us $5, 5 little dollary dues over on the patreon.com/Halloween is forever. If you've got some, let's imagine you're driving to your in-laws house, right? And your significant other is making you listen to this stupid fucking podcast. And you're like, God damn, I gotta listen to these two shit brains and talk about dumb movies again. But your significant other loves the podcast and you're looking for a little Christmas present idea, little holiday idea. Subscribe them over on the Patreon.
You can give the gift. Give the gift.
Give the gift of Satan's love, and also there's a significant chance that they may bear witness by the end of the year, even to the death of God, because I am trying to actively kill God. We have been talking about this for really a couple years now, and I feel like I'm getting a little bit closer every day. Anything else before we jump into this son of a bitchin' movie, Steven, that we should mention?
Nope. Patreon.com/Halloween is forever. And then, what's the other thing? Sign up on the Patreon. You get on Discord. You also get you get the chance to sign up for the Secret Satan that will give us our movies for December. So
yeah. That was what I originally was going to say. Is we need suggestions. Our current Patreon subscribers will give us some, but if you've got more, go sign up and you can actually potentially dictate exactly what movie me, Steven, or one of our guests talk about during the Secret Satan Showdown, because we ain't got no control over that. Our hands are tied over there. Okay, so let's get into this movie because I want to carve out some time to talk about it. I'm going to do two things. First of all, I'm not going to go scene by scene in this movie, because I want you to go watch it. I want you to go pay money to watch this. Unlike some of the other movies we talk about where I'm like, I don't give a shit, or I would prefer that you actively steal this movie or don't pay money for it. The people who made this movie deserve to all the good things in the world, because this is one of the most fucking fun movies I've seen in a long, long time. Stephen Kostanski, we've talked about him many times on the show. We love him. We love The Void from 2016. That is one of the best, easily top 10 horror movies for me of the last decade. We have talked about Psycho Gorman RPG Psycho Gorman in the past. We recently talked about Frankie Frico. I don't know if we didn't do an episode on it, but we just chatted on the podcast about it a couple times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He has directed a bunch of good shit, and this is certainly no different. Did you watch the original Deathstalker from what was that night? What was that? Probably
83.
83. I was gonna say it's right around the time I was born, probably. So yeah, 83. Did you watch that as a kid? Were you familiar with it?
So yeah, I was familiar with, I think, the first 3 Deathstalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely 1 and 2, and I think I saw 3 at some point. Never saw 4, but also like I was a kid who was into Beastmaster films, and so like I think there's like 4 of those. So it's hard to, that's all blends together in my head. You know, there's 4 Beastmasters films, there's 4 Deathstalker films. What was the other one that was really popular? I mean, obviously Willow.
Conan.
Yeah, Conan.
Willow. I was going to say Conan the Barbarian. That was the one we watched a lot.
Yeah, Conan and Willow were big. Red Sonja was big. And like all of this was on TNT for the most part.
Yeah.
It was these type of sword and sorcery films and Godzilla films, and those played on fucking TNT all the time. Mm-hmm. And like that's where I got those from. So yeah.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I remember watching Deathstalker as a kid and then didn't watch it for many years until, maybe, I don't know, sometime in the last, I'm trying to think. Well, I think we lived in this house sometime in the last, I don't know, 8 or so years. I watched it again. But I remember very distinctly as a kid seeing Deathstalker 2 before I saw Deathstalker 1 because it was on USA Up All Night with Rhonda Shear.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which my dad never missed, and I would sneak to the top of the stairs and watch it from there. So I definitely remember watching Deathstalker 2, and then a little later the original Deathstalker. But also, we were a big like any type of action. Like we were just action movie fiends, when I was a kid, and Ray Harryhausen, anything in that realm. Like my grandfather was a big fan of anything with, stop motion monsters in it. We were going to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I had like TV recordings of the old Harryhausen, Jason and the Argonauts, and like, even the Sinbad movies.
Oh yeah, the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
Yeah,
that was a perennial favorite. I've probably seen that movie freaking 100 times. Clash of the Titans. Gosh, what else? I'm looking up. 20 million miles to Earth. That was a good one. And then there's one other big one I'm thinking. 1 million years BC too. That was another one. I mean, that's also one that is probably more famous. I feel like we've talked about this relatively recently too.
Well, we talked about 1 million years BC on the Patreon episode because Raquel Welch was
that's right.
chairman of the board. Yeah. That's why you think we talked about it.
Yeah. Sure. Yes, exactly. Raquel Welch, known widely for chairman of the board. The worst movie ever fucking made. But yeah, so these were, not only were they on cable all the time, but like I said, my grandfather was a big fan of a lot of these movies too. So some of my first genre movies I ever saw, in addition to the Universal monsters, were definitely these like sword and sorcery type of movies, which this movie pays a ton of homage to, not just in the storytelling. I would say that. But also, oh my gosh, why is the name escaping me? Robert E. Howard. A lot of Robert E. Howard, which a lot of these movies were. I mean, Conan the Barbarian was written by, all the Conan the Barbarian stories were written by Robert E. Howard. I was trying to think of the name of his like weird pilgrim guy that was also his other protagonist, not just Conan, but his weird like puritanical pilgrim guy. I'll think of it. But yeah, a lot of those stories, a lot of these movies that inspired this movie were based on Robert E. Howard stories as well. But yeah, you want to go through the cast a little bit? We'll talk about it. It's some of the same people you would expect. that are in other Stephen Kostanski movies, but great choice as far as I'm concerned for the lead in here, who plays the titular Deathstalker. And you can guess the background of this actor. Just, I swear, like from seeing him, like within the first 10 minutes, I was like, I bet that's an old stunt guy.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's how a lot of those films came about back in the past, is they would just get an old stunt guy to be like, well, we think you got the physique. You only need to say a couple lines. If it worked for Arnold, who doesn't even speak English, you know English, don't you? So, all right, let's go.
Oh, this guy, I mean, listen, we grew up with Arnold movies. We obviously love him. This guy is Sidney Poitier compared to early Arnold.
Right.
Daniel Bernhardt, his name is, and really extremely well-known stunt guy. I don't say well-known because a lot of times the idea of the stunt man is they're not well-known. They'll pop in and do stunts for Keanu Reeves in some of the John Wick films. He did stunts in Hunger Games. He acted in a bunch of these movies as well. Nobody, which is, if you haven't seen, with Bob Odenkirk. If you'd have told me 10 years ago Bob Odenkirk was going to be in one of my favorite action films, I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. But that movie's fantastic. You haven't seen it already. But this guy's like a big deal stunt guy. Guardians of the Galaxy, Deadpool, John Wick, like Creed. These are, he's got a really impressive set of movies that he's been in. However, first time, certainly I've seen him as a lead, and I don't know, he's fucking nails it, because he's got the combination of physicality, great fight scenes, like he plays the role of like this aging warrior who's like still jacked and intimidating, but also kind of apathetic a little bit too, like he's fucking over it, which is perfect.
Yeah, it starts out and he feels very much a little bit like The Witcher in the way that he is
very
just like,
witchery,
he's a sword for hire, and if he's not currently on a job, then he's just going to collect whatever he picks up out in the field, and it's a great way to just set up, like, he's kind of an anti-hero in a way that like he does not have that heroic drive to him. The way he's introduced, the film starts I know we're not going to go scene by scene, but the film starts with one of the greatest opening shots that you could ever have, which is
cool.
Somebody being completely beheaded and the blood is just spraying directly into the camera. That's the most insane opening shot I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Steve was watching this movie last night, and you could tell just 5 minutes into started watching, he texted me, and I was already in bed. And I didn't see the next video. I was like, this movie fucking rules. I was excited to watch it all day. But yeah, I mean, this movie, I don't know how else to describe it better than this movie fucking rules. Everything about it rules. It is, we'll talk about some of the other cast, but like if I was to summarize this movie, it is essentially like, I mean, if you've seen other Stephen Kostanski movies, you'd get these big like Power Ranger vibes in terms of like, the Super Sentai villains, right? Big people in crazy elaborate, rubber suits, and like everything is like cartoonish in a fun way, like spare no I don't want to say spare no expense, but spare no effort, right, on these crazy elaborate costumes, practical effects, and it's just like a bunch of fucking people killing and fighting big ass crazy fucking monsters. It's awesome.
Yeah. The entire budget went into making guys. Like there's very few films in the past 10 years that is about making guys. Psycho Gorman had a bunch of guys in it.
Tons of guys.
Yeah, Frankenstein's army had tons of guys in it. They're like, oh, we're just making a bunch of guys. And then that's what they do in this film. They just make a bunch of guys, and then Deathstalker fights those guys and kills those guys. And that's it's the pacing of the film is very rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And I'll say, like, even though I did text you, like, I was probably halfway through the film and I was like, this film fucking rules.
Yeah.
By the end, I was a little bit like, okay. Because, like, I don't know. It doesn't, because they spent all their money on making guys, it missed some of the other things that the Deathstalker films did. And films of this nature did. And that was, like, making it feel big. I just wish it felt bigger. That's all.
Yeah, I can get that. The third act slowed down a little bit. It dragged a little bit in the third act, although it had, and I think it worked for me because of the pacing. Like the first two, this is an hour and 40-minute movie. It's not a short movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably a little over an hour in, and I'm like, this is going great, right? And then the last act, it started to drag a little bit, but then they started peppering in some genuinely funny gags. That kept me in it, but I do feel like it betrayed the tone a little bit because they were playing it very straight, of course, with the jokiness of the anti-hero, throughout. But yeah, we can highlight kind of a couple of those moments. I don't think I know anything about Christina Orjalo. She's got 5 or 6 films under her belt. I don't think I've seen her before, but she plays Brisbane, who's like again, I won't spoil the whole story, but she's like a thief, that kind of companion, runs into and becomes a complex kind of companion of Deathstalker. You've got one of the two, I would say he's the big bad for the most part, but he ends up being like second in command to the big bad, or third, I guess, perhaps even.
Yeah, third.
Paul Lazenby, who plays Joe Tack, and he's also a stuntman, which you can tell right away because big, beefy guy, and they have some great fight scenes. Him and Deathstalker, I said it again, Deathstalker.
Just to give people an idea of how big this guy is, he's the fucking mocap performer for Marcus Phoenix in the Gears of War games, which is, those guys are just impossibly huge to begin with. And he's the guy they said, oh yeah, he looks the most like, oh, he has the frame of the impossibly huge video game characters we're making.
Yeah. If they did a video game, a movie rendition of Mike Tyson Punch-Out, he would be Bald Bull.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he looks like. Big son of a bitch. We have this he's not in a lot of the movie, but I had to call it out because Nicholas Rice plays this character called Necromemnon, who's like this, black sorcerer, that's not in a ton of the movie, but he does have some really memorable parts.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a crazy, not a big portfolio here of films that he's in, but some crazy ones. He's in, first of all, genre fans, he's in Dead Ringers. He's also in Look Who's Talking, and then this is where it really drops off. Two of the worst, one of two, I'm going to say worst. Blues Brothers 2000's unbelievably bad.
Oof.
Right? I saw Blues Brothers 2000 in the theaters, guys. It's tough. It's a tough watch.
Oh my God.
But then also, I think this is probably the second time in 3 weeks we've mentioned this. He is also in the 1996 film The Stupids. Which coincidentally we just talked about. This is the Tom Arnold vehicle based on the children's book The Stupids. And then the most famous person by far in this is the voice of Doodad, who is kind of the little It's actually played by, like a little person in a mask, but the ADR, who probably has the most lines in the movie, is Patton Oswalt.
Yep.
Anyone else that we should definitely call out? Yeah, small part, but really relevant and very funny. Played the lead in Frankie Frico, played Connor in Frankie Frico, and his name is Connor Sweeney. And he plays, it was like some random ass prince in this movie that's in it for a certain amount of, decent amount of time, but he's got a couple of funny lines as well.
Yeah, he's the prince of like essentially the good kingdom of people, but they're still human, so like he's a fucking asshole. And like every human in this film is a fucking asshole, but they still also have to fight against a literal like dead god and the wizard who is bringing back zombified soldiers in his name. So it's like, it's one of those like, hey everybody, can you all pay attention for 1 second? There's this guy and he's doing a thing and it's really super evil. You can get back to fucking each other over, because the whole film is basically people rat fucking each other the first chance they get. But
it's got very Witcher vibes for sure. And the whole thing is structured around this kind of like, I don't know, I'm going to forget what they call it, but like this little amulet of sorts that's supposed to be some, valuable heirloom of the royal family, and turns out to have some magical powers, which I won't spoil completely, but it honestly doesn't matter that much. You're not watching this movie for the story necessarily. You're watching it for like people's heads getting sawed off and just crazy fight scenes and fucking monsters. And I mean, right off within the first few minutes of the movie, we get Deathstalker, walking into the little village pub, being the mysterious badass, and then having to fight like a weird, like, he's not two-headed. He's a troll, but he's like a troll with a giant hunchback and then a face on the front, and then like a head, not even a neck, but just like a head on the front, but then also like a almost like a conjoined twin on its side.
Yeah.
That are talking to each other.
It's just a gross monster, and it fucking rules, and it's slimy, and it's running his mouth, and that intro is so fucking badass, because it's exactly what you want, because it's Deathstalker at a bar, and he's just drinking and eating a fucking chicken by himself, like grossly.
This is a video game, like with different levels. Like you talked about, it's rinse or repeat, but it just kind of plays like different levels. And I did love the idea that when he goes to get like a drink, they put it in a big giant, like, carved out wooden
flagon,
like flagon. Yeah. And then for food, they just give him a whole chicken. Yeah. Like he's in Double Dragon or not Double Dragon, but
Gauntlet. Gauntlet was the
Gauntlet, of course. Yeah. I immediately go to Bayou Billy with the chickens, but Gauntlet makes more sense. And he's just eating a chicken at the bar, and then has to go fight a freaking two-faced troll. I mean, this is, and then immediately after that, he goes and has to. And Steve texted me at one point last night and was like, "I think we got a bog hag over here."
Total bog hag in this movie.
We actually have like multiple bog related creatures here.
Yeah. But we got some swamp things. We got some bog hags.
Yeah. And we'll get to the swamp thing scene, because it was one of my favorite scenes. But it was a real testament to the idea of like, this is just a movie of a bunch of guys to kill, because, when you got swamp creatures coming up out of the swamp to kill people, it stands to reason that they might all look kind of alike. Nope. They made 3 entirely different swamp creature costumes.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
They don't have more than 10 people on screen at a time, because they couldn't afford the extras, because everybody is swapping costumes at every single point. Like the people who are the Dreadites are the same people who are the Thieves Guild, or the same people in the tavern, or the same people in the swamp thing costumes. Like everybody is just swapping.
Yeah. But But I love that he never does, in these Stephen Kostanski movies, whether you go back to Psycho Gorman or whatever, they never just do like a regular. It's never a regular monster. It's got to be something like really crazy elaborate. Like the quote, the bog hag we were talking about, he goes and basically sees like a witch in like a little like witch's hut to try to figure out why now he's got this connection to this, amulet or whatever the hell it is. And she's not just like a wicked old weird witch. She's got like a box around her head, a box like chained to her head.
Yeah. And so, and like that's what makes it great character design, because then in your mind you're filming these, you're forming these stories of like, oh, okay, well, it's a bog hag and she lives out in the bog on her own, and her and Deathstalker have this thing. They've met each other before, but obviously at some point somebody imprisoned her head in this box so she can't do certain spells. Like, I guess probably if you looked at her, she would be able to hypnotize you or whatever. But if we just keep her head in the box, then, we can tap her for this other stuff. And it's just like, it's like you build all these stories. My favorite is The Mummy, which is basically just Scorpion. Like I was watching that and I was like, oh, this dude rules. I would love his action figure, because
he has like a damn like gem thing over his fucking head too.
He has a gem thing. He teleports. He has a buzzsaw on a chain. He's basically Scorpion, but if he was a damn mummy, and he would be the coolest action figure you can get. But that's the whole movie, is just Kostanski made a bunch of action figures that would come with so many accessories.
So many cool accessories. I mean, even Doodad, has got like a little energy ball, probably. And maybe he's got like his little chain. He's got his little box he comes in. Like, Doodad, great character. Like, is it Patton Oswalt, pro with the voice acting. I will say the mask for Doodad, not the strongest mask in the movie.
No.
You really can't see his mouth moving, and so it's just like basically Patton Oswalt's voice coming out of a barely moving mask. But overall, the character is good. Like I said, the voice acting is great. And you have to have a little sidekick in these types of movies, or a little like burdensome tag along, in these types of movies.
What was the name in the Masters of the Universe tag along? What was his fucking name?
Him.
Because that's exactly who this character is. Just like a little guy who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, is not strong, and like gets in the way most of the time. But he wasn't he wasn't a character that was in the cartoon, I don't believe.
No, I'm looking it up right now. It is
fuck. I tried to search it and I wound up on the new Idris Elba one.
That's what I did first too.
Oh, Jared Leto's playing Skeletor? God. What does he have he must have some sort of compromat or something to keep getting work.
Gwildor.
Yeah, I don't think Gwildor was ever in the cartoon, but he was just this annoying little guy played by the fantastic Billy Barty, by the way. But it was just this annoying little guy who had like fucking inventions that were, half-assed. And that's what Doodad is. He's a fucking annoying little guy who has some knowledge of the arcane, but he sucks at it most of the time.
90% of the time he sucks at it. He always messes it up. At one point, fairly early on, which was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, he tries to help because Deathstalker saves his life. So now he feels he's indebted to him, and now they're, companions on this journey. But at one point, two things he does. He throws little energy balls, which he always misses. And at one point, he decides he's going to summon, I think what they refer to as a wraith. And it's just this screaming banshee ghost that's just flying around indiscriminately, shrieking. And it actually comes back later because they use it as like a form of like transportation.
Yeah.
This movie spirals into insanity pretty quick. I mean, Stephen Kostanski, all of his movies do to a certain extent, but this movie, like I said, at some point, it's funny because it's very faithful and respectful to the source material, but it also doesn't take itself seriously. And
For probably
and
like 85 to 90% of the film, it does the good thing of all the characters play it straight, but there is just some wild shit that happens that like you can't help but laugh at.
Yeah. I gotta mention my favorite monster, which I don't know what it's called, but it's the one that's essentially a golem, like a giant stone golem, but it's got the rotating face, which I think is and Masters of the Universe was like a little bit before my time. So I never was, I mean, I watched the movie, whatever. I was never a big like He-Man fan or anything like that, but I'm fairly sure, wasn't there a He-Man character that looked remarkably like him or had a rotating face?
Yeah, there was. I think it was just called Many Faces.
Okay. Yeah. I just know from seeing the pictures of the action figures, you know.
Yeah.
But this one is a giant stone golem. And then the best thing about it, which this is another, you know, Kostanski creature trope, is he loves his creatures to be full of goo. You know, like whether they're full of, like there was a character, which is maybe the coolest character I ever did in Psycho Gorman, which is that weird, like almost looks like a pot still / like slurry of just ground up bodies and shit.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. It was voiced by Rich Evans, but yeah, it was like a He-Man. Yeah, that's the other thing is, I mean, we keep saying it over and over, but like everything is an action figure and everything is a Power Rangers action figure or a He-Man action figure or like the bizarre, you know, twisted conglomeration versions of those. So that they're, you know, that they're both legally distinct and full of goo.
Yeah. Like you could expect Goldar to roll out at any moment. Like that would have not felt out of place ever for
Not at all.
Goldar just walk on screen. Or like if we learned that all of these creatures were made by Finster from Rita's lab out of clay, that would make total sense too. This one is, he's just this big like lumbering golem, and he essentially gets dispatched when like Deathstalker finds the little like porthole on his back, unscrews it, and all his green just liquid comes out, and that was what was powering him. That was the magic green glowing liquid, which again we don't get any explanation of, but you can imagine there's a hell of a backstory around it.
Yeah, nobody. The main crux of the film is all about how Deathstalker has this amulet, and now the worst assassins in the land are coming for him, and that's why he keeps getting assailed by all these action figures. And so, like, you have to make up backstories as you meet them because it's the first time you're seeing them, and it's the first time Deathstalker's even seeing a lot of these guys. But yeah, you have to imagine like there was this golem, and he had fucking green ooze put into him by a wizard, and he came down off the mountain, and like, and then there's Scarabus, who's like, he comes from a far distant land, but he teleports in, and it's just like, okay, sure, man.
And then Joe Tack has his little one-eyed flying bat thing that like, can go, and because that is a great sword and sorcery trope of like somebody always has a flying creature that can go out and scout for them, either a good guy or a bad guy, and in this instance it's the bad guy. He's got the little flying I don't know, it's just eyeball bat, which is great. I mean, we should say, if you've not seen any of these movies, it's guys in costumes, but it's also a lot of puppets. Really cool, effective scene when they're in that cave and there's all those like little sandworms popping out. They're straight up hand puppets popping up out of the ground. And then he shows them get sliced in half and there's like guts and shit on the inside. Like, there's so many puppets, so many costumes. One of the closest thing to a guy who there's a lot of are those like red, fleshy, like kind of knights that come from, it's basically the army of, I can't want to say Necronomicon. What's his name? The
Necromemnon.
Necromemnon, his like army that we learned he creates from like the corpses of his dead enemies are these like fleshy red. It almost looks like they have armor on, but they, you know, it almost looks like wet and fleshy. Whenever he comes in, like they basically are like those little capsules you put in the water and they blow up into like sponges. It's those, and that they blow up into like fleshy red knights.
Yeah, they are the Putty Patrol, but except they turn from putties into like Lord Zed looking characters. So
they
like
do look a little bit like Lord Zed, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all the visual language of like it's things that you remember, but you know, I mean, it's still its own thing, but it just feels very familiar, even though it's not even Deathstalker. So like that's what, like, this movie's gonna feel great for anybody who was born in the 90s, even if you don't remember the original Deathstalker. Or never saw it. Like if you're familiar with D&D and Power Rangers and all that shit, like this will be fine. If you are familiar with Kostanski's previous films, you're gonna love it. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I want to talk about a couple of my favorite scenes, which I won't spoil them in the context of the movie, but they're really fun. And like leading up to it, they basically end up in like captives, both Deathstalker and oh gosh, I've already forgotten her name. Brisbane, yeah. And they end up in the hands of like some weird, like faceless, I don't know, sorcerer priest type of thing that it's got like the weird brain for a head. I love that fucking character, but it's like the brain for a head is in like a
cage.
I don't know, almost like a bird cage, but or some sort of torture device. And he shoots little tendrils out, but it has this like, you know, red, like almost like silken robe, like he's some sort of clergyman. Meanwhile, at the very same time, we're jumping back and forth because Deathstalker is fighting a damn, you know, warthog faced guy, which is like, you know, there's always warthog faced guys. I feel like all sword and sorcery movies or video games or tabletop games, there's always a guy who looks like has a warthog face. Like that's the putties of the sword and sorcery world. Yeah. Or the Foot Clan, if you will.
Foot Clan. Yeah. Pick your minion.
Yeah. That scene is really fun. We also get like Necromemnon or whatever, like speaking through like the core, like the melted flesh of that character after Deathstalker kills him. I just love that whole sequence. Yeah. What else? What is there? I imagine we're gonna have some of the same ones that we really enjoyed as we come down the stretch of the movie.
Yeah, I just one I wanted to go back to, and I don't know if you picked up on this. Oh well, okay. There's a couple I want to go back to. One, in the worm cave. Again, this is why I kind of thought this movie was being made for us, because we have a bog hag scene, and then shortly after that we have the scene where we first meet Doodad, and Deathstalker yeets Doodad inside the cave.
He does. Yeah, he does.
I was like, Boghead followed by a yeet. Plus, there's been a whole bunch of power metal and in the soundtrack. I'm just like, did they just make a movie for me? Is this movie for me?
Did they make it as movie on account of me? Yeah. I mean, the first 25 minutes, especially, I'm like, we being punked here. I feel like that somehow this is going to come back to like, this is an actual movie and they just made this just to trick us.
Well, but one of my favorite things is it's so silly, but it's just the scene between Tritus and Brisbane as they're walking through the woods, just on their way to another location. And in the background,
Tritus is I guess the real name of Deathstalker. That's the real name. By the way,
I use his proper name. I'm typing like that. But as they're walking, there's just two giants in the background slugging it out,
just laying haymakers like Don Fry and whatever the hell's name is, like slaying into each other.
Yeah, just two giants laying haymakers. They have nothing to do with the rest of the story. You'd never see them after this scene. But the brilliance is of populating a scene that way. And then they also make the sounds of the punches part of the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as Brisbane and Deathstalker are walking along, you just hear like these punches in the background that are like used into the soundtrack as they are like they're basically arguing over like how both of them are not virtuous people. So
yeah. I mean, you can never say that there is a moment of this movie that A, there isn't something to look at, and B, is not done with just like a tremendous amount of care.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we get also, I mean, speaking of stuff that's meant for us, we get a full body burn as well.
Yeah.
In a flashback, not even in a climactic scene, in like or not a flashback. It's like what's the word? Not a foreshadowing, but I think it's when they're around like the campfire and Doodad doesn't Doodad like break the curse or whatever of the amulet, and then he's like,
Doodad breaks the curse on the amulet, and then he's like, but wait, there's a prophecy inside.
A prophecy,
and then like like a Star Wars, and I'm pretty sure every Deathstalker film has done this, in which they have done a bit of a flashback to a previous Deathstalker film.
Yeah,
we flash back to I think it's mostly Deathstalker 2. It might be some Deathstalker 1. I didn't recognize
which movie it was, but
yeah. I think this film is really enamored with Deathstalker 2, directed by noted pervert Jim Wynorski.
But notable pervert. We should get a poster. It's just a photo of Jim Wynorski, and it just underneath it just says notable pervert.
Notable pervert. But yeah, so I think they flash back to some Deathstalker 2 archival footage, but I think like that's a thing every Deathstalker film does, is at some point references a previous Deathstalker film, even though like the Deathstalker himself changes, I think, through all 5 films.
Yeah, I mean, I've only ever seen the first 3, and it is different every time.
Yeah.
And that's where we get the flashback to whichever one it is. 2, I think you're right. Where we get a full body burn in there. We also get the like prophecy of the idea of this like 4-bladed sword, which again I won't spoil. Not that it matters that much, but I think they did wrap it up. In it, I think it was pretty clever, pretty well written at the end. Although, like I said, I would suggest that maybe it drags just a little. Like if this movie was again, sweet spot, hour 27, perfect. Hour 40, a little bit long. But like we're over an hour in, and we're getting introduced to a bunch of new characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of people and a lot of characters in this movie. What is her name? She's the head of
Grendel.
Grendel, played by, I should call her out, Nina Bergman, who was in Doom Annihilation from 2019. And then, that's tough. She's in a lot. She's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she's in a lot of stuff. She's also known as like a Swedish pop star, and even provides like one of the ending credit songs to this film.
Oh, good. Yeah. They have a great original soundtrack talking about Deathstalker and shit. She's good. Honestly, she's good in this movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. It's just like, being in Doom Annihilation,
that's tough. But, that's tough.
That's a tough
stuff. That's not a strong film. But she's great. But like I said, being introduced to, not a big bad, but a significant bad guy in the movie for a period of the film, over an hour into the movie. So my favorite part, and I don't think I'm spoiling it because you really got to watch it to see it. And I'm probably my favorite characters are like the swamp people. They're going to like, I forget what the name of it is, but it's like this evil, dead swamp. And they're going to dispose of the good guys. And just as they're about to kill Deathstalker and Doodad, some damn old swamp people come out, and it's not Swamp Thing necessarily. It's got Swamp Thing vibes, but it's a little bit more not Bloodborne. What's the other from Software?
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. It's a little bit more of a Dark Souls, Blight Town kind of version of Swamp Thing, because he's kind of got this bulbous, weird body. There's like a skull growing into him. Like, he's much more grotesque.
Yeah.
And then he's got two buddies that come out too. Like, one of them, like, his skull is like a tree stump. It's fucking awesome. But then he also has like weird titty sacks hanging off of him. It's real fucking gross. I mean, so I was watching this last little bit, you know, this happens in the last, like, I don't know, half hour of the movie or whatever. And I was watching it and I was eating like a good old Hamburg steak, you know, just like, I made my kids some burgers for dinner. And then I just grabbed the last, like, you know, a little hunk of ground beef and just like seasoned it up and just like cooked as like a little hamburger steak, you know, with some grilled onions. And something about eating just a slab of ground beef while I was watching those guys, it was not the most appetizing thing in the world. And I usually have a pretty strong stomach, but I was like, oh, this is not the greatest meal for this scenario.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times watching films for this show, and just, you know, just like every now and then something gnarls me, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, like why am I eating tuna salad like at this moment?
Yeah, something just grabbed me while I'm eating something sloppy, and it's like, ugh.
Oh no. Oh, I was gonna say the thing that I love about it, and I won't spoil the kind of joke. And it's like a jokey part, but it really comes around and becomes a significant part of the story. But this whole scene with the you know, swamp creatures, and then they come back and you know, save Deathstalker later is fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, I did have the note of just like, why did that one Toxic Avenger have tits?
Yes. Like in two different spots.
Yeah.
Like one like kind of close to where it would be, and then one like down by his waist almost.
Yeah. So, and that's, I guess if I'm being critical, and I'm being critical to the spirit of Deathstalker, is that there aren't really any tits in this film. And Deathstalker is absolutely known for that.
Full.
Yeah. Especially too, because it was directed by noted pervert Jim Wynorski, and stars what's her name, Monique Gabrielle, who was like a Playboy playmate who turned you know, like actress, and she's in a lot of pervert films like this. Like she's in a lot of the softcore Emmanuel films as well. So not having, like, I understand, like, you don't need to have like Brisbane get naked, and you don't have to have Grendel get naked, but the whole thing is like, when you populate the background with extras, and you just have like a bunch of drunken barbarians and drunken townspeople and slimeless thieves, you know, somebody's bound to be just like hanging out in a chair with a tit out. You know?
Just do it. It's part of the, and if like I mean, I do, most of them are very formulaic, and I know there's people who would get upset with that because they're diehard fans of like sword and sorcery stories and Robert E. Howard stories, but a lot of them are quite formulaic. The best ones aren't, but a lot of them are. And they almost always have some sort of, especially Conan, some sort of like questionable, like sexual conquest. They're sleazy stories oftentimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Deathstalker 2 and 3, it's pretty non-consensual sometimes. And like, that's not cool.
Sleaze.
Yeah, that's not cool. We can cut that out. I'm just saying, you know, let a lady have a tit out.
I'm actively watching Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers right now, so it is making it so abundantly lacking. It's making that there's just so I mean, zero genitals, zero boobs. Come on.
That's the one thing I'll give to the new Toxic Avenger is for no reason at all. There's some tits, and then just to even it up, some dude whips his dick out, and that's fine.
Yeah. Throw a dick or two in there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason why not to.
One of the swamp monsters should have had a big old like branch boner.
Yeah, just have a big old floppy uncircumcised hog.
well, like it starts floppy, but then it turns into a branch. So it's
yeah. Then we get a boner joke in there. I love that. Yes. So Prince Baldar is the prince that is played by Connor Sweeney. And he is playing it straight up for jokes, which is perfect. But this scene was really funny of him like talking about he's cold, then he's warm, he's making him take his jacket on and off. Very, very funny. Love that scene. Wish we had more of him in there, which I guess I don't want it to be too jokey, but I loved him in Freddy Frico. I laughed my tits off through the entire movie.
Yeah, he's so great in Frankie Frico. He's great in...
Did I say Freddy? I mean, I keep calling him Freddy. Frankie Frico.
I think everybody at this point who knows the show knows that you are dog shit with names.
I'm so bad. I've said somebody's name 10 times. I still have to go back and look at my notes to see what the name was.
But like, yeah, he's so great in Frankie Frico. And he dates... Connor dates all the way back to some of their original films, like Manborg and Father's Day. So like, he's been with Kostanski at least, for a long, long time. But he's great in this wee little part, and just that one joke of him putting the small opera binoculars up to his eyes to see a person who is 15 feet away, and then take them down and go, "You're not that lady." It's the funniest fucking joke, I think, in probably the whole movie.
Yeah, it's a really funny bit. He's got a couple of them. He's just being silly as fuck in an otherwise, fairly serious movie, which is always welcomed. But this movie also might threaten for the all-time record for decapitations. And I think if we combine decapitations and like bisected heads,
yes,
this may take the cake all time.
Yeah, I think for sure decapitations. They do decapitations at the neck. They do decapitations at the lower jaw. So you see, so it's like a lot of the Mortal Kombat decapitations where it's just like part of the head comes off. They split heads in half. I'm trying to think if there's any other unique ways that they take heads apart. Sometimes the head just falls off. The jaw, grab the lower jaw and the upper jaw. Yeah.
Kind of situation, which is kind of similar to what you mentioned. But yeah, there is just a lot of just destroying people's heads in creative ways in this movie. One other scene I wanted to talk about. Well, it's more a creative death, which, listen, if you don't want this one to be spoiled because it's the death of one of the big bads in the movie, then skip ahead, a minute and a half. But it's again, I forgot his name, Joe Tack. Whenever he's finally killed by Deathstalker, he puts one of the little beans that explode into a Lord Zed, just puts it in his mouth and then explodes him out, and then the mannerisms of the guy when he comes out, he's confused because he exploded out of a man's body, and then he just gets like a horn flung through his head.
It's so great. Good. It's so disrespectful because this big bad actually gets killed by one of his own underlings, and then that underling is so quickly dispatched by just a horn that Deathstalker had ripped off the previously exploded big bad, and just spawn camps this fucking dude who pops out of him and hits him in the head. It's just so
he does as soon as he spawns.
Yeah, it's just levels of disrespect, and it's just like that. It's fucking cool, and You can't think of anything that you've seen similar to that.
No, I can't. You really, when you watch as many like genre films and violent films as we do, you really clock when you see something that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And that is an example of something like, oh man, I've seen grenades in the mouth. I've seen all types of manners of people exploding out from under people, the people running through people, hit by all manner of flying apparatus. But no, I've never seen someone get a weird egg of a henchman jammed into their mouth and swallow it, and then that person explode out of them.
Yeah.
I do also like that they kind of made the Necromemnon, who's like the old dark wizard, who's, he's the mystic. He's not like physically imposing at all. In fact, like he's meant to be like an older, kind of physically frail guy. They made him kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Like at the end, he's just kind of childish and dumb. I thought that was okay to make, because you already have serious bad guys, and then you have the big bad that they're trying to summon, which we do get. So I think it's fun to make him a little eccentric.
Yeah, because he feels like he's there. When you first get introduced to him, you're like, oh, this is the Emperor Palpatine or Skeletor of it all.
Yeah.
And, he has this very specific way of speaking that he always rolls his R's in a very fancy boy way.
Way dramatic, like really rolls them for a long time.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm going to get you, Deathstalker. And it's just like, it's that upward trill of like when he rolls his R's. And so he feels like he's supposed to be like this fancy lad, but then like he's also gross and disgusting because they're pulling like undead polyps off his back to create creatures with and create fucking gross things with. And so like, he's just like this gross, disgusting character. And then when we finally get to the final battle, you kind of just revealed that like, oh yeah, he talks like a fancy boy, but he is like a kind of a stupid dickhead.
He's kind of a nincompoop. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, man, I think we all feel like we're learning that this week, aren't we? From the news.
Yeah, the evil master, the evil lord is actually a real fucking dickhead behind the scenes, which we maybe all saw.
Just a real stupid asshole who can barely read.
I love, I don't know. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I thought it was fun. Is when Necromemnon and Doodad have their little skeleton battle, which they both simultaneously summon a Ray Harryhausen skeleton monster.
More or less, yeah.
Even so much so as the one that I think is dressed up like a pirate or something, which is just like, which is obviously like a Sinbad reference. I mean,
I guess it was. I was so bothered by both of these skeletons because both the designs are so ubiquitous, and the one that's dressed like a pirate. I guess I didn't go back and look at the Sinbad movies. But the one that's dressed as a pirate is also directly a character from Killer Instinct, Spinal.
Oh, I forgot about Spinal. Yeah, I played a lot of Killer Instinct. He does look like him. But I think it was a Sinbad reference. I think both of them are just like Ray Harryhausen references. But it was a little forced. But it's like, okay, fine, I get it. Things are kind of spiraling into silliness at this point. I mean, literally immediately thereafter, the skeletons, like, the big bad kind of comes through. I don't need to explain the whole thing because, like I said, you should definitely watch it. But once they summon the big bad, then there's the two little flying skeletons, like spermies, flying around in the air,
like Freddy's Dead.
Yeah, straight up Freddy's Dead style. And they go over and eat off Necromemnon's face, and it's so anticlimactic because he's there and he's like, we've summoned, I forget his like Psy something, I forget
Cytor,
what the big
I think
Cytor, my master is here, blah blah blah. And then you just see the two little flying skeleton spermies go over there, just like yum 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 yum. He just munch his face off and he look back, he's a skeleton. But yeah, this whole sequence is a lot of fun. Like I said, it's just honestly my only critique is if it happened 15 minutes earlier, I think I would have been more like less ready, not less ready for it. I mean, like I would have been more welcomed as opposed to like, all right, guys, this movie's running a little long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dragging a little tiny bit.
Yeah, I guess I would have liked it more if it felt bigger. Like,
I totally get that too. That's a great point. Yeah.
If it was like a stadium of, like Dreadites and, whatever ghouls and whatever shit, just like a stadium full of people, and they're there for the sacrifice and the possession, and they put, they put the goo in the lady and the lady becomes the thing and everybody's there and like, yeah. And then the fucking thing comes out and it starts destroying everybody. Because it has no value of life at all. It just, kills everything. They're like, yeah, this fucking sequence is going insane. But this final sequence feels very, very similar to a bunch of other sequences we already saw, where it's like fight a guy and then beat the guy and then move on. And it's like, okay. I mean, there's fun. It's not to say that there aren't fun stuff in it. It's just, it doesn't end on a, like there's no uptick to the film. It's just kind of a steady pace of kill guy, fight guy, blood and gore, walking scene, kill guy, fight guy, blood and gore, which it's fine. It's still a lot more fun than a lot of movies, and it's still, more technical than a lot of previous Deathstalker films. It's just, I don't know, you just want those big thralls of people who are fucking like disgusting and insane.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a little grander, but given how like chaotic and wild this whole like movie has been, and again, like not to say the final creature wasn't cool. It just was. It was just. I don't know. It didn't. I was almost expecting if it was like something that looked like I don't know, the void or something like that from Berserk. You know what I mean? Like something that was a little bit more menacing. This just felt like some sort of weird wild animal type of thing with just like big, with like a big like claw machine hand.
Yeah, it was almost too big because it couldn't move in a believable way. So it was like too big to be puppeted, and it was all in shadow as well. So like you never got a good look at it. Whereas like every other monster, you get a good look at him. Like the swamp things, you get a good look at them so you can see all the little skulls and bones that are implanted into their skin. And you get a good look at, the mummy guy and all his weird armor and stuff. So when the final boss is like this weird headdress on top of a shadow with, big monster claws, you're kind of like, I don't even know what that is. What am I looking at here?
Yeah. It's exactly. You kind of don't know what you're looking at, but
what are your powers, dude? I don't even know you.
Just grabber. You got a big grabber.
That's what everybody's worried about. Your big grabber.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Are there sword and sorcery movie villains that are really impressive? I'm struggling to really think about a big bad from a sword and sorcery movie that is really that memorable. Maybe with the exception of Skeletor, which I think is pretty memorable. So I really can't think of a lot of sword and sorcery films that do the big bad justice,
Yeah. No, they usually don't, because usually the big bad stops at the guy in a black robe type shit. And they usually stop that guy before he can even summon anything. And then you wind up remembering, the Cyclops from Sinbad, or the big scorpions, or the skeleton army. You remember all those things because they're fucking wild and cool to see. So you don't really remember the big bad.
No.
I guess maybe James Earl Jones from the one Conan movie.
Oh yeah, he's good. Well, I mean the voice alone, I feel like is like such a, I don't know, daunting thing. Like it feels like it gives him a lot more gravitas with the super deep voice. All right. Any other scenes you want to talk through? Anything else in regards to Deathstalker?
I don't know. I feel like there's a whole bunch more that is like connected to this film, and I would actually be interested to see like all the things people start making connections to. Because like I said, a lot of my memory of those sword and sorcery films are like half remembered because I haven't watched them since the 90s. Like
Yeah.
I just stopped being into sword and sorcery in the 90s. I didn't come back until the fucking Lord of the Rings movies, really. But yeah, so I'd love to see some connections that people make. One, though, and I got to put this out to the audience because I didn't have time to look it up, but I think I'm right. There is when Manny Faces shows up, the golem, the soundtrack sounds exactly like something I think was in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, either the first or the second one. And it's either like the introduction of Shredder or the introduction of Super Shredder or the introduction of Toka and Razor. I didn't have time to look it up, but it feels like the exact same sound cue that is just like dun 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 dun, dun, and it's like, the fuck is that from? And it's like, I swear I've heard it in another movie, and then it devolves into a different like metal song, but I just swear it was like it was an intro song to get you hyped for like, here comes a bad guy fight in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, but I can't. Yeah.
All right. So, I'm gonna watch it because I found this part in the movie. It's when he first shows up.
Yeah, when Manny Faces first shows up and is kind of revealed behind him.
All right, here it comes. Oh yeah, it's like that driving metal song. Yeah, I don't know. I don't recognize it.
I swear
it does sound like, reminiscent of something else, but
yeah, I swear it was like the introduction of Shredder. I don't know, one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. I'll figure it out maybe. But.
Those were $500 sunglasses, asshole.
Long story short, guys, go check out Deathstalker. Go rent it on it's available on a variety of like streaming services. It's actually on Shudder as well.
Is it on Shudder now?
Yeah, looks like it's showing, at least on Letterboxd, it's saying it's on Shudder. But also, yeah, you can find it a million different places. Go watch it. A lot of fun. Get some popcorn. Get 16 or 17 beers. Do a J. Whatever you got to do to get in the mood for some I actually tend to think that for sword and sorcery, adventure movies, that sort of stuff, get baked.
Yeah.
Get stoned.
Yeah.
And you're going to enjoy yourself. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think you're wrong that it's not the new one that's on Shudder, because I just looked it up. It's the original and the second one.
You're right. It's the original that's on Shudder.
Yeah.
Yep.
The original and the second one, directed by noted pervert Jim Wynorski, are both on Shudder.
Yeah.
So you can watch those.
Do yourself a favor. Do yourself a triple feature. Watch the original. Watch noted pervert Jim Wynorski's Deathstalker 2. And then I can't speak to him after that. Then after that, go watch Stephen Kostanski's remake. I have it here. It's on, you can get on the Apple TV and the Amazons and the YouTubes and the Plexes and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Go check it out, guys. And if you haven't already, go check out the Patreon, because we're going to be talking about a little ghost, not a regular ghost, not a fully grown adult ghost. We're talking about a baby ghost.
Baby ghost.
And you might expect this to be a human baby ghost. Nope, not necessarily.
Nope. Can't tell what it is.
Cannot, in all honesty, explain anything about its origins or its species. But go check us out over there. All right. Anything else before we wrap this one up, Steve?
Nah, that's it. Go watch Deathstalker. It's a fun time.
All right. Go watch Deathstalker for the Halloween is Forever crew. I'm Brian.
And I'm Tritus. That's my real name.
And I'm a notable pervert. Bye.